We are at the Meyers Creek Work Center on the Custer Gallatin National Forest outside of the small town of Nye. The Work Center was listed in 2023 on the National Register of Historic Places. Over here we have a rental cabin. Behind me is the office building, which would have been the Ranger Station. A small garage next to it. Over here we have an actual workshop and garage with 3 bays for fire engines and an actual machine shop. We have a barn or tack shed for the horses and mule teams that the Forest Service uses. One of the advantages of listing this on the National Register is that it does bring more attention to it. We'll have people actually using this rental cabin, and by using these buildings, we're still using this office building, we're still using this machine shed. By actually using these buildings, getting people into them, we're noticing the small things, the broken windows, the need for paint. So we're getting this list together so we can actually maintain these buildings and keep them standing so that we can continue to use them for our work and then for the next generation's work as well. It gives us a wonderful site to stay at for when we're going up into the woods right here to maintain those trails that the public uses. It's named after Meyers Creek, which flows through the site. In 1900, the first building was constructed on the site by a guy by the name of George Oliver. He constructed the first building, used the area, lived out here, but he couldn't apply for a homestead patent because he was from Canada and he had to be an American citizen to apply for that. So in 1906, when the forest reserves happened, this area became national forest land as part of the Beartooth National Forest, which is now the Custer Gallatin National Forest. At that point, it became a work center. In the 1920s, there was a large influx of funding because there was a recreation movement and people were using their public lands more. So at that time, in the 1920s, some more buildings started to be built around here. That happened again in the 1930s with the Depression and the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, and the WPA, the Works Progress Administration. They built more buildings, maintained the area, improved the water system. After that, there was another period of construction in the late 50s, early 60s. And to this day, we're still using this area and maintaining the buildings. So one of the important factors about how this got listed on the National Register is that it still has that same feeling that it did back in the 1900s. So if somebody were to come here, transported through time, who was here in the 1900s, they can come here and they would still have, this area would still have the same feeling that it did back then. They would be able to recognize each one of the buildings, what it was used for. The area still has the same feeling, the same sound. If we had a horse crew right here, right now, you could still be able to hear the stock. You'd be able to smell the horses. If a fire crew was here, you'd be able to see them sitting out on the porch, sharpening their tools, hearing those noises. And it just maintains that early 1900s feeling, that 1920s feeling that it had. To me, as an archaeologist, one of the first things that I noticed when we walked up here is the paint on the buildings. That these buildings over here, the rental cabin, the machine shop, the tack shed, these are the older buildings. They were built in the 1930s, and the paint has been maintained since the 1930s. It's still the traditional white with the green trim. This building behind us was built in the late 1950s. In the 1950s, the Forest Service moved to a more log style and they used brown paint on the outside of the buildings. And I just found that super interesting that today we're still using that same paint color. We're not trying to make this, it does blend into the environment, but it also stands out and you can see its function. You can see that it's here and what it was used for, and we're choosing to keep it up and maintain it to do that.
Here at Meyers Creek Work Center, we have lots of recreational opportunities. Behind me is the Meyers Creek Trailhead, which is one of our only motorized trails on the district. It's also an area that we encourage a lot of stock use. You can mountain bike here, you can hike here. Once you get off of Meyers Creek, we start going only into mountain bikes, horses, and equestrian use, but from there you can go up Castle Creek into our new connector trail called Initial Creek, and into the West Fork of the Stillwater, which will lead you into the Absaroka-Beartooth Wilderness, where horses and hikers are welcome to explore. And then to this side, people can go up Lodgepole, which is another one of our motorized trails, or they can go on foot or on horseback into our Bad Canyon backcountry area. Behind me, we have our corrals, which is used both for the recreation rental cabin that we have on scene, but also with current day Forest Service trail crews, we are pack supported. We keep our stock here quite often because we have administrative use pastures. We also have nice facilities for them here. So we'll stage our mules and our horses out of here quite a bit, either in the pastures or as we're getting ready to go out on the trail. And then to this side of me, we have another corral, which is for the rental cabin. If folks want to bring their horses, they can stay there safely in their pens overnight. While they're using the cabin, their horses can be here and they can be ready to hit the trail the next day. Behind me is Meyers Creek Cabin, which is a rental cabin available to the public from May through November, and you can reserve it on recreation.gov. It's kind of a great location in which to spend the night, enjoy the peacefulness of the area, and also to launch your next recreational activity the next day, whether that's hunting, hiking, horseback riding, or enjoying a cruise on your ATV. We also have Great American Outdoors Act funding that's going to help us restore some of the infrastructure out here.
Thanks to the efforts of the Custer Gallatin National Forest and the support that we received, we are able to list this on the National Register of Historic Places and maintain it for public use for generations to come.